Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Can I have your names? Okay. 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 See, consistency is the most important thing in this preparation. Okay. You guys have been consistent, and please, that consistency is a hallmark of every successful aspirant. While you are in this class, the objective of this class I've been reiterating on a daily basis that it's not just to take information. Newspapers are like gym equipment. How you train your muscle. I keep saying the same thing every day because I should drill that thought process in how you are approaching this subject. Okay? So it's like a gym equipment. It's like a tool for you to look at an issue from the lens of what UPSC is expecting from you. So newspaper is not a source of information where you condense it and store it. It's like a equipment where you know the method. You know how to use that tool. Once you know how to use that tool, you refer to it like a dictionary. Let's say, for example, how do you use a dictionary? You read some sentence, you see some word, and then you realize that it's not making sense. I don't know the meaning of that word. Then you go to a dictionary, search for its meaning, and then try to make sense of the essence of that entire sentence. And then you learn by framing it in your own words. You can never buy heart information from newspapers. So the objective of newspaper reading is not to extract information alone, because every single article is information driven. On the same theme, you will have hundreds, thousands of articles in your entire preparation. And you can never win this game, that is the UPSC game, if you chase information. The end objective of newspaper reading is clear, right? So let's reverse engineer. For today's topic, I will introduce you the new theme that we have to study and from which areas that you have to prepare. Okay? Since you're all freshers, I will be telling you which basic materials you have to refer to understand this topic. I'm not directly going into the editorial that is there in that. So this is probably there in Hindu editorial. Irrigation crisis. Maybe I don't know which page it is. Page number. It's on the second right hand side. Page number 9 or something. So this issue of irrigation is specifically meant for mains perspective, mains interview and governance perspective. But to make sense of that, you need to know certain basics, right? So how do you approach those basics is the most important thing, because at prelims level, see, prelims is a sense of judgment. Like, you are not expected to memorize everything. So the options will be decided in such a, it will be designed in such a way that, let's say for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 options are given. 1, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 only. If options are given like this, essentially this is a test of judgment. And if you take a look at the option design, if you can decide if one is correct or not, if the first statement, let's say for example, which of the following are true, you got 3 statements. If you know if the first statement is correct or wrong, you have arrived at the answer. Yes or no? So this first statement is often the concept. So UPSC designs questions in such a way that you are expected to know the concept. The concept can be important. Once you understand the concept, the trend in the current affairs, let's say for example, whether water usage is increasing or decreasing, which sector is using this water, how is it using, where is it using. It is issues like this, it's the trends like this which will decide whether you are aware of what is going on the ground or not. So essentially, prelims is a test of judgment. What do I mean by that? If you have to judge whether a correct statement is given or not, you need to be aware of two things. One, the basic concepts that you will find in NCERT's standard textbooks, and two, the broad trends which will not change over a period of time. For example, water problem. Do you think it will change year on year? Is it so easy to fix the water problem of this country just like in an year? Water is a finite resource, right? The amount of fresh water that we will have is a finite resource. Are we doing something differently so that our water problem is fixed? No. From the past 10 years, 5 years, overall trend will remain unchanged. Okay. So, in order to fix that water problem, you need to understand the broad trends. That broad trend is there in newspapers. You are not expected to remember exact numbers. See, usually UPSC, whenever it gives statements in multiple choice questions, you will notice that they are wrong, because that's one way of twisting the statements. And usually you are not expected to remember numbers. Okay? Given this fact, how are you supposed to look at basics? So, in your NCERTs, you will see that in your NCERTs, if you have to make sense of this, the basics that you are expected to know from NCERTs, water resources. In your geography NCERTs, see, this is the theme. Every natural resource. Okay, I'll link it back to the same concept. Social contract, individual and state, group of people and state. What is the responsibility of the state? To make sure that whatever resources that this country has, they are distributed equitably. What is the difference between equally and equitably? Equitable means sometimes, let's say for example, if two people are given the same resources, this person already has some historical advantage, like they already know how to use that. This person is not even aware of its potential. Okay, when these two people are given the same resource, it's quite possible that this person will not be able to use it because of the disadvantage that person has. To fix that, maybe more emphasis should be given to people who do not have the capability to use that resource. So since the state is spending more time, energy and money on these people, so that if there is a natural disadvantage, that is fixed, so that they are brought onto the same pedestal, and then they are given that resource to use it properly, they will be using it efficiently. Okay, so that is equitable distribution. Equal distribution means it's like giving subsidy to both Ambani and a street vendor. What will Ambani do with that subsidy? Nothing, right? gas subsidy for example. Let's say there is a tea stall. A tea stall owner will greatly benefit if he gets a gas subsidy. What will Ambani do with it? Nothing, right? So where you spend your resources, how you spend it, decides the welfare. The concept of welfare is not about keeping everyone happy. It's about providing the bare minimum necessities and improving the standard of life of all the sections of the society. That is the primary responsibility of the state within the ambit of resource distribution. In this context of water, you need to know some basics, which you will be studying in your geography classes, NCERTs, etc. So, the kind of questions that you need to ask when you are preparing as a aspiring policymaker, bureaucrat, is okay. We are talking about some resource called water. What are the different kind of water resources? First question. You can take this on. So before taking this topic down like an assignment, every day from now on, you will have some assignment kind of a thing. Because if you sit here and just consume information and walk away, you will not be trained to think on what is important, how to leverage the time that you're spending here. You will not be able to do that properly. I'll tell you the science behind it. There is a concept called synaptic pruning. Synaptic pruning. Do you know neurons? How many of you know neurons in our mind? Neurons, what are they? So they are, so if you're a non-science background, I'll just try to oversimplify things. Like if they are the tools that will help you think, remember, strategize, analyze, etc. Do you think efficiency of your neurons will decide how well you function in this exam? Right? So there is a concept called synaptic pruning. How neurons combine together, they come together. At one point, they join. Those are called synapses. Over a period of time, experts are those who have, it has been seen that if you continuously focus on one aspect and train yourself continuously, your neurons get aligned in that direction. Once you are aligned in that direction, the other neurons will be switched off. So you will be, experts are those who have a great sense of synaptic pruning for that particular topic. So when you're training to become a bureaucrat and preparing for this exam, it's important to align your mind, lifestyle, everything, your thought process, because mind is the most powerful weapon that you will have. If you panic in the exam, it's gone, no matter how much you prepare. So you have to train yourself first for that resilience. You should not be like, oh, I'm waking up so early in the morning, 7 o'clock class, etc., etc. I wake up at 3:30 in the morning to prepare this PPT. It takes a lot of time to prepare this PPT. And I expect you guys to be punctual. When the class is at 7:15, you are expected to be here by 7:15. Okay? Not because I'm not going to allow. See, it's your exam after all. Right? So that punctuality can make a whole lot of difference. So if I am late by a few minutes, meanwhile, I'm already posting on the Telegram channel what articles you should be reading. Give it a glance, so that your participation here is much more effective. So the assignments, like why did I explain all this synaptic pruning and etc. Every day when you want to make the best use of the material that is given to you, you will be given certain assignments. Instead of you getting spoon fed, if you actually take some effort and try to understand, you will be trained to think in terms of the exam pattern. So the work that I'm giving today is go to NCERT. Don't ask me which NCERT. You are expected to search You have great tools today. You have Google search, AI tools, ChatGPT, etc., etc. Don't be lazy again. Just don't say, hey ChatGPT, just tell me the water resources, etc. Don't do that. Don't be lazy in your effort. Go to exact NCRTs, search. Where do we find our water? Where is water available on earth? Is it available below the earth, above the earth, oceans, rivers, ponds? What is the percentage? So that is the first task. Where will you find your water? So there is a diagram in NCRT, something like this. It will showcase that 97% of water is there in oceans. How is the rest 3% distributed? Where will you find them? Rivers, ponds, lakes, underground, ice caps, glaciers. Just look at that percentage. I can give you the information right away, but why am I not giving? If you are just consuming information, you will not be able to retain it. I'll tell you one more important way of how our mind functions. How many of you gave competitive exams before this, like entrance exams, etc.? MSET, NEET, whatever. Okay. It's quite possible. What exam did you give, for example? Okay. It's been like 4 or 5 years since you gave that exam. It is quite possible, if you take a look at that question paper, whatever questions you might have marked right then, you will not remember. But whatever questions you marked wrong, you will definitely remember. Our mind is tuned for sensationalism, negativeness, negative mindset. Because I'll tell you, this is also an evolutionary trait. Our mind is tuned to sense danger. Till now, we were working in an environment where information was scarce. Today, it is plenty. Hundreds of strategies, thousands of videos, tons of material. I'm sure in your devices there are hundreds of PDFs which were downloaded but never opened. And they will only cause anxiety. If you do not have the ability to use any material, can't do anything about it. There's this English movie called John Wick. Are you aware of that? It's like a proper Telugu commercial movie where, the hero will be, given some elevation dialogues, and the villain will be talking about the hero, etc. He'll tell one of his sidekicks that, who's that guy? You know how dangerous he is? He can actually he killed someone with a pencil. So do not take him so casually. Run away. Proper Telugu introduction scene. Like, okay. Why am I talking about that? Even a pencil can be used to kill a person. It's a weapon. Nobody would expect that. If you don't know how to use an AK-47, that guy might even kill us with a pencil if you don't know how to use the weapon. Your PDFs are like that. They're useless if you don't know how to use them. And if you have the skill to use them, a pencil is good enough. You don't have to have tons of PDFs. That skill is the ability to understand how to use it, synaptic pruning, active recall, all these concepts in pedagogy. That is the methodology of teaching. The future is not about finding the right answer. It is about asking the right question. The ability to ask the right question. For example, prompts. ChatGPT prompts, for example. I'm sure everybody knows ChatGPT and they're using. If you ask a generic, hey, tell me what is best way to prepare UPSC. how to crack UPSC in 1 week. It will still give you an answer. But if you believe it, good luck. Happy Diwali. So, the activities, like, why am I training you for all of this? Because the point that I'm going to tell you can actually be captured like in 5 minutes. Why am I giving you hour-long sessions? Like, if you were seniors, the entire topic can be captured in like 2 minutes. Hey, look at this point, this point, this point, this is the takeaway. But to reach that stage, the prerequisites should be very strong. You're just beginning. I can't keep on dumping information on a daily basis. Whatever you're doing today, this 1 hour of time that you're spending in this class should actually be useful for your exam that is probably going to be 1 year away, 1.5 years away. Correct? So, reading this editorial is not really important, because 99, not 99, 100% of the times, in my observation, you will not remember this editorial's existence also. But you will remember the kind of discussions we will have in this class. Okay? So the details of the editorial are secondary for freshers like you, because once the thought process is fixed, you can always come back and look at this. You understood the assignment, the first one. Now, let's say our geography gave us this gift of water. How do we use it? Which sector is using how much amount of water? How much amount of surface water? How much amount of underground water? This is what you need to ask next. Only when you know these two facts, this article will start making sense. Alright? Since you will be doing the homework, you will be doing, it's not a suggestion, you should do it. Okay? I'll ask you questions tomorrow. Okay. This editorial is about the very painful problem of farmer suicides. Even today, we are witnessing farmer suicides. Like, it has been a very sad state of affairs for many decades now. Despite all this technological growth, we're not able to fix these kind of problems. Why? Because the climate change, population pressure, a business as usual approach. As in, we are not changing how we distribute our resources, how we use our resources. Population changed from 70, 80, 100 crores to 150 crores, 160 crores. It's expected to reach a peak of 160 to 170 crores by 2047. 160 crores. Can you imagine? Same amount of water, same amount of land. How will you provide food? How will you provide water if you don't figure out a method to become more efficient? This kind of cases continue to happen. Now, to fix this problem, you need to have a multi-dimensional approach. Water is a resource that needs to be governed. Yes or no? Why? Because if it is discriminatory, like you are using it as per your discretion, where will it stop? Like the bad utility of water. For example, if you want to wash your hands, 1 mug of water can be enough. If you're brushing your teeth, there are a lot of people who just switch it on and just keep on brushing. Government can't do anything about it. The only thing that they can do is restrict. You're only going to get 1 bucket of water. There will come a day where wars will be fought for water. Look at the history. Every civilization was on the banks of a river. Indus Valley civilization. Every great empire, for example, Magadha Empire, it's on the banks of river Ganga. Without water, we are nothing. Right? So this case study of a farmer suicide who happens to be a very progressive farmer who wanted to try something new, as in not go by conventional methods. He did his best to become resilient, environment friendly, try new methods, and yet he was not supported. The fact that because of water stress, that farmer had to attempt a suicide is a very sad state of affairs. And these are the kind of problems that you will be encountering on a daily basis. Never reduce the pain and plight of these people to a mere statistic. Have the empathy to actually understand the problem, because that's how this world is going to get better. Okay. Now, given that, so water stress, there is a technical definition. I want you to see water stress, everybody understands. What is water stress? Large amount of population, less amount of water. So competition for that puts stress on the water resources. Here you need to know the technical definition of water stress, which is given by Niti Aayog. This is point number 2 that I want you to search. What is Niti Aayog? It is a body that replaced Planning Commission in 2014. The purpose of this is to carry out policy research. So from time to time, keep following this Niti Aayog website, especially with respect to how we have to manage our resources. Okay, this resource governance theme is important. Human resources, for example, how do we deal with our human beings? So there will be a lot of indices or index. Is there any index associated with water? Go to Niti Aayog website, go to their reports section, just take a look. You don't have to read all the reports, but the fact that you are aware of the existence of a research material on such topic, read the abstract summary. Don't try to memorize anything. Be aware of the problem statement. Okay? Water management index. Okay? The very purpose of Niti Aayog, one of the founding principle of Niti Aayog is to ensure cooperative federalism. Polity classes are going on. Did the concept of federalism come yet or not yet? Did it start? Center-state relations? No? Did you at least come across the word federalism? What is federalism? We already discussed in one of the newspaper classes also. What is federalism? Sharing of powers between the center and the states. The design therein. Is India a federal country? Quasi-federal. Why? What is the article that gives the fact that it is a quad? Article number 1. India is a union of states, not a federation of states, unlike USA. So it is important for the center to coordinate with the states. In that, the evolving policy problems and how resources needs to be managed should be dealt by specialized agencies. That specialized agency is Niti Aayog. One of the subject it deals with is water. Water governance. On the surface level, there is one. On the underground part, there is another body, the regulatory body, which deals with that. So the second work that I want you to do is go to this Article 246. Then you have what is Article 246? Which schedule? So tell me, water resources, is it search? Is it part of union, concurrent, state list? This is the second task you have. Then after this, the third task that I want you to do is, you have geography, NCERT, water resources, right? These resources need to be governed. Okay? What is the role of Jal Shakti Ministry? There are other technical bodies and other bodies like Central Groundwater Authority, Water Commission. What are the respective roles? Like, each body is existing for a purpose. What is the water governance architecture? That is the third task. Okay? Done? Then go to my Telegram channel. You know that Hindu highlights, right? You can just search Hindu highlights in Telegram without a space. Go to this Hindu highlights and just search for keyword water governance. You will come across a series of articles. Just go through the highlights of last 4 or 5 articles, whatever you get. You will basically understand some context, and you will notice that this theme is repeating. Incidents might be new, problem is always the same. So these are the basics that you need to prepare. If you look at this as a problem that is meant to be solved, you need to know the problem statement, right? That is what we are trying to do. We are not trying to summarize an article. So this is the third activity. From geography, you need to know your water resources. From Niti Aayog website, you need to know what is the technical definition of water stress. What is water management index? Is it dealing with surface water, subsurface water? Where is water utilized in our country? How is it used? How can it be better? This is what we should be thinking, right? Then go to water governance. If you have to fix the problem, you need to know present, how it is in present times. How is it dealt? Where will you find it? Basically, you need to know the governance structure. For that, the beginning point is to see if it is a state, central, or a concurrent subject. Then you go to individual ministries and see what is the mandate of every organization. Because this can be how prelims questions can be framed. Okay. Once this is done, go to PYQs and see if there are any points on water resources, both at prelims and mains levels. You will understand what is expected by UPSC. Do this simple work on a daily basis. If you keep on piling them up, there's no point of you coming to this class and just sitting. You have to participate. Just like in a participative democracy, yesterday we told you, democracy cannot be effective if people are not participating. Forget democracy. This is your exam. This is your preparation. Why are you expecting everything to be spoon-fed? Start taking responsibility for your actions. Okay? Next up, once you understood this, the background story is clear. Especially if you want to know more about what is going on in the past few years with respect to this. On this channel, there are editorials from the last 6 years on the topic of water governance. I'm summing it up in a simple way. The reason why water is mismanaged is, one, we did not change our behavior. Two, there is lack of coordination between various agencies that deal with water. 3, even if governance structures are there, sometimes monsoon doesn't support. If monsoon supports, funds are not available on time. So many problems. List those problems down, you will find a solution. Here, we are talking about a specific issue called irrigation. Irrigation means providing water for agriculture. So, the first question that you need to ask is, okay, we're talking about agriculture. How much amount of water that is usable by human beings? In India, how much of that are we allocating to agriculture? This is actually a previous year, one of the statement of a previous year question in prelims. Okay. Let's see. So, these are the various prerequisites for you to completely make sense of this editorial. I am expecting, I'm not giving you an information here, because if I teach and leave, you will forget it anyway. After this lecture, what I am expecting from you is that you understand how to learn a topic associated with water. Okay. Now these are some common sense questions. If you want to know what is causing water stress, don't look at this. Let's say, for example, I want you to think, when will you have water stress? Common sense. Okay, you are living in a hostel. That hostel is a 100-seater. 100 more people came. Don't you think it's a water stress? Same thing is happening here. Climate change is only making it worse. Over extraction. Why are we over extracting? Population. Inefficient cropping. What do you mean by inefficient cropping? Like I told you, if you're opening a tap and brushing your teeth in the hostels, it is inefficient use. 100 people are doing it. Now 200 people are doing it. You're only making the problem worse. If you as UPSC aspirants are not able to, appreciate those small behavioral changes which are needed, you can understand the plight of normal people. They don't know what they're doing. It's not intentional. But if people are made aware, do not underestimate the capacity of people. Human beings are at the forefront of revolutionary thoughts, something that has changed the paradigm of history. If you take a look at our entire history, it's just that human beings are very insecure. Okay, they want to take care of themselves first. That's why, unlike other animals, other living species, human beings who are given the gift of thinking, they think only for themselves, not for the entire humanity. So this view that we are not important, we are not the only species that is living on this earth, should be incorporated in our day-to-day life, that we have to learn to live with nature, not against it. So the thought process is very important in how you approach any issue. So these are the generic points that every aspirant will write. So what are the factors that cause stress? Everybody will write this. But how to generate points on the spot when you don't know anything will come when you understand the problem statement in such detail. When you're preparing in the last minute, do you really think you can have half an hour time for discussion? Can you sit through these lectures like this and watch the YouTube videos? No, that is what preparation is all about. It is now that you can think. Let's say you clear prelims. You only have, like this time around, you only have 70 days. Actually, from the day of prelims exam to the mains exam, you have 87 days. 15 days will be gone for, the anxiety of cutoff. How much will be the cutoff? Will I clear? Will I not clear? you're left with 70 days. In this 70 days, how much can you grasp? There is nothing new that will, see, if you want to crack the exam, those 70 days are only meant for gaining the momentum to perform, to peak in the exam. If you have not completed your optional, your GS before your prelims, you are most likely to repeat the exam. Take it for granted. So, the time that you spend here in this newspaper classes should be utilized for training your mind. I'm reiterating again and again because I've had some questions from some of you guys on how to make notes. You're not supposed to make notes now. You're supposed to train your mind to think in a proper structure. It's like fill in the blanks. The blank can be filled based on the question that is asked. Right? So you need to develop that intuitive framework of thought rather than just condensing information from newspaper articles. So these are practice sessions. These are like your gym sessions early in the morning. They're not meant for information delivery. You can do that yourself. So while you're in the class, you're always challenged to think. Inefficient cropping. You write this point. Let's say, for example, the question says, what are the factors that cause water stress in India? Every single candidate will write inefficient cropping. How should I believe you? I could have put the same answer here. But if I give the answer here, how will you think? I am asking you. Now tell me, show me a proof that we are inefficient in our water spending with respect to this point of inefficient cropping. How will I believe you if you just say that? Either you have to quote a government report, an example, a case study, something you should show, right? Otherwise, how can I believe you? I can write just about everything and get away with it. Okay, I'm just putting this on the record. I've seen some toppers tell that you can just cook up data. I strongly condemn that because they might have gotten away. No disrespect for their hard work that they've put in, but since they've got success, they should not advocate things like that. Especially when you are aiming to sit in an office that is going to be of so much importance. This exam process is not something that you can mess around with and get away with. Especially when you're speaking on a public platform, you cannot say that I can write anything and everything and I got into the system. It's actually a shame that they're doing it. So I don't advocate that point. Don't take shortcuts. Do not bluff. Do not take shortcuts. Because doing this can be boring, slow, etc. But while you are having the time here, do the right things. Do the difficult and right things, not the easy things which are tempting. For example, French fries is very tasty, but it's not going to help you if you want to lose weight. The cause is above everything. Please remember that. So don't take, even if that person is a topper. This country is standing not because of, quick fixes. It's because of the institutional strength. Individuals are not important. Institutions are. And you are going to be a part of that legacy. And if you can't fix, at least don't spoil it. Okay? So it's important to remember this. Don't take shortcuts in your preparation. Next, unsustainable irrigation. You are providing water to the fields and it's simply not sustainable. What is the meaning of sustainability? Whatever you do today should not affect the future generations. That is sustainability. Unsustainable because you are continuously using water, but you are not putting it back into the system. There is a water cycle, right? Underground water gets rejuvenated. If you're continuously extracting, you need to give it some time, right? where will it get rejuvenated? Let's say if 1000 liters of water is extracted in 1 month of time, it will take entire monsoon, at least 3 months, to get rejuvenated. Even in those 3 months, you are continuously extracting. Where will the system survive? That is unsustainable irrigation. So these are the core problems. The distribution is uneven across regions. So this will lead to a problem in GS1 called regionalism. How many of you are from Telangana? What is the core slogan of Telangana's demand? Needlu, Nidulu, Niyamakalu. Water, funds, jobs. Water is the first thing. Core problems. Inequitable distribution. Second up, over extraction. Now I am giving you a statistic from the article. 17% of the underground water blocks are overutilized. Who is telling this? What is the source? This is what you should search in the article. If it is not given in the article, go and search it in the web, because that gives credibility to your argument. Next up, efficiency is low. I know efficiency is low. How much? 38% efficiency. Who said? 38% of what? What do you mean by this percentage? I am not giving answers because the answers are already there in the article. But if you don't know the right question to ask, just like how I told you, you will not be trained to look at that article as a tool. You'll just passively consume information and try to by-heart it. You can never pass this exam with by-hearting. Gender vulnerability. Very, very important dimension. In GS1, women farmers suffer more from poor access. Why is it that? Because there is a problem in GS1. When you are reading Indian society, there is a concept, there is a syllabus topic, not concept. So, salient features of Indian society. One of the salient feature of Indian society, not just Indian society, across the world, that concept is called patriarchy. You know what is patriarchy? Where male members are often the head of the family and they take the entire decisions. That is because traditionally Indian economy was based on agriculture, which involved a lot of physical labor. Okay, so men used to do all the labor, women were given the household responsibility. So it is a simple division of work between men and women. So the concept of, see, gender and sex, biological concept is, gender is a sociological concept where that role of what work you do is stereotypically given to a particular sex. For example, caregiving, taking care of household, is given to women. So, gendered roles will create bias, prejudice, some kind of a inferior feeling, looking at them with a inferior feeling that they are not capable or etc. In traditional structures, of course, we have come a long way from there, but even now in many areas, it's still there. See how complex every problem is. It's not just one simple subject. It's not a subject of geography. Do you think this article is about geography? Yes, it is, but not geography alone. Is this a problem of governance? Yes, it is, but not governance alone. Society, technology. See, we're talking about inefficiency. How to make it efficient? Science should contribute. It is a problem of gender vulnerability. How should we contribute? Sociologists should come in. It is a problem of inequitable distribution, that is governance. Public policy should come in. It is a problem of over extraction. Again, public policy. technical policies, agricultural policies should come in. So to solve a problem, we need everyone. Now I'm linking it to something called National Education Policy 2020. Please remember this. This will help you understand why UPSC is getting tougher. The options are getting tougher. The day you realize that the problems that are meant to be solved in today's society are multi-dimensional, multidisciplinary, where you need a sociologist, a public policy maker, a scientist, all of them coming together. Your education should solve problems. Knowledge is plenty, wisdom is not. Wisdom is something that is well thought, learnt, practiced. For that we need collaboration between various sections of the society. So this National Education Policy advocates that we need multidisciplinary curriculum. Meaning, for example, an engineer is not aware of the social problems. He'll give a technical solution, but that is not solving social problem. A computer science graduate can create a very complex code, but if it is not adapted by the society, of what use is that technology? A classic case to the success, case study of success of UPI is a great example of a multidisciplinary thought process translating into the end objective of adoption, technology adoption. India is having two problems. One, digital divide, which is solved by cheap internet. Two, technological illiteracy. Digital divide has this technological illiteracy as a component. For that, we solved it through an innovation called QR code. You just scan. You don't have to read. And a lot of people don't know how to read. For that, you created a voice-based. For example, in Telugu states, PhonePe has this voice of Mahesh Babu telling you how much money you received. So it solves problems by keeping people at the center. This people-centric solution will only come when you have this multidisciplinary thinking, and that is what this education policy advocates. So let's say, if you are just entering into the field of UPSC preparation, just pray that you are not going to come, to the 5th attempt or 6th attempt. Because by the time you reach that 5th or 6th attempt, this education policy, national education policy, will already come. It has already come into picture. It's already incorporated in curriculum. Kids from those colleges will come out with such fresh thought, which is so natural to them, that you will be forced to learn at that point of time. It is difficult to unlearn because your synapses are already pruned for a certain type of thought process. It is difficult to unlearn. Science itself says that it's difficult to unlearn. So right from the word go, you should be flexible. So this is how you understand a problem statement. Once you do that, it is very straightforward when you look at the facts. In GS3, there is something called cropping pattern. So in geography, you learn the conditions in which sugarcane, paddy, and other crops like millets, pulses grow. So for all of this, common thing is you need a lot of water. Okay? So crop water mismatch means in areas where you don't get water, why are you growing this? Simple answer is agricultural policies. Concept of MSP. In Telugu, it's called Kanisa Maddatu Dhara or minimum support price. If you sell some produce, let's say you manufacture a product. Let's say this iPhone, for example. Do you think iPhone will sell this at minimum support price or maximum retail price, MRP? MSP versus MRP. What would you prefer if you are a businessman? Why is it that farmers are selling at a minimum support price? Don't you think the very approach is a problem? Why are they fighting for minimum price? Like give us MSP. The whole farmer issue is to give MSP, make MSP a law. Can we do that? We can't even do that. It's a problem. It's going to be an environmental disaster if we create MSP, a legal guarantee for MSP. But they are right in their justification, and that's a sad reality. What is a business? You put some money, over and above that you make a profit. When you do that at a minimum price, do you think you'll make profit? And yet they are happy doing it. What is going on? Did you ever think about it like this? Why is agriculture functioning at a minimum support price? From times of independence, we have had these slogans, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. If we are so, emotionally attached to the cause of farmers, what is this conundrum? Why are we selling it at a minimum price? Because in the absence of that minimum price, crop failure, debt, all this will bury the farmers. So the very approach is false. We treat it like a sin if agriculture is treated like a business. Elsewhere across the world, agriculture is treated like a business. So we should stop saying that agriculture is a way of life only. It's not just a way of life. You cannot expect the prosperity of this country when a farmer is suffering. Agriculture should become a business. The market should command what products get what price, not the middleman. And this is not just a economic problem, it's a social problem. I'll tell you why it's a social problem. Who are these middlemen? Those are mostly associated with power dynamics. They are associated with political parties across all states, across different time periods. Which caste do they belong to? It can be lower caste or upper caste. But historically, because of the numerical advantage they have, they are coming from a concept called dominant caste. They control power. They are stopping the reforms. So as such, for welfare, middlemen making most money. I'm not saying middlemen should not make money. It's a very wrong thing to say. But if middlemen dictate the outcomes, then the system is somehow flawed. Let's take the example of this coaching industry only. If the coaching industry dictates who gets into UPSC, that's a very flawed system. Who gets into the bureaucracy? It's a flawed system. The role of middlemen will always be facilitators to ease the pain points. We should act as facilitators for, making the problems easier to deal with. And since the effort is going on to make that easier for the people, we'll be making money. That's all. So irrigation is not a single problem where you can say, I will fix the water source and the problem is solved. No, that's not how it works. It's such a complex system. What are the incentives? You give free electricity, crop subsidies, and groundwater is treated as a private property, because if you dig a borewell in your field, it is considered yours. But entire aquifer is continuous. Let's say this is the ground. This is the amount of land you brought. But the aquifer is here. You extract water from here. It is also pulling from here. What about the person who is not able to afford it? So these are the kind of perverse incentives that our present policy has. So what are the assumptions that we have to challenge? we should not consider this as a private ownership. Then don't go for just technology fixes. And the answer to problem of irrigation is not more irrigation, more number of bore wells, more number of pumps. No, it is efficiency. So we need to deploy technologies like drip irrigation. That's why you have schemes like Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanchay Yojana, where it is called per drop, more crop. So you will have schemes like this, which you can, they are mentioned. I want you to go to the respective websites and see what the purpose is. This I can tell you, but I want you to go to those respective websites and read the About Us section. Okay, this is there in the article. So I want you to go back to the article and read it completely now. So how do you map the points that are given here? Schemes and programs should be remembered. There are some organizations mentioned there. You should know what those organizations do. Then you have to know what are the international programs that deal with this problem. All of these are taken from the article, but I'm just highlighting them and I'm asking you to search. Okay? So, just mains focus. This article can be used in cropping patterns, GS1. GS3 also has cropping patterns. Okay? GS2, governance. GS3, infrastructure, agriculture reforms, water use efficiency. This is a very, very important theme, water use efficiency. What are the technologies? In agriculture, in our day-to-day life, water recycling technologies, desalination plants, all this will be prelims thematic pointers. For the next 3-4 years also, this technology based questions will come. I'm pretty sure even in this prelims exam, you will have some, in 2025 exam also, you will have some or the other question on water resources. Ethics. What is the ethics of resource distribution? We have already discussed that briefly. If you don't distribute properly, it will lead to chaos. So this is how you are supposed to read an article. So some statistics are taken from that. This is how you have to focus. Now, this is again an Indian Express article taken from Indian Express explained page. We are talking about the India's air defense shield. So this is important from two areas. This is important. Okay, let's talk about first prelims. For prelims, this is important in science and technology. Okay, the principles involved in science and technology, and for mains it is useful in science and technology and as a pointer in internal security. Okay, let's see. The context is Operation Sindoor, which we have discussed on the day of attacks itself. 6th May? Is it 5th or 6th May? 6th May maybe. So here we have these systems. I want you to go back and read this topic once again. I will discuss this elaborately when we are taking up a defense based lecture. Okay? But the main framework, because it appeared in today's article, how do I want you to look at this article? I'm just giving a outline. You have to read it yourself. But what to pick from it, I'm telling you. See, it is an integrated system, first of all. In an integrated system, there are multiple parts to detect. See, the other day I've already given one article on defense systems, air defense, which is posted on your. Did you go through that? Please go back and watch it. So this is merely a continuation of that article. Okay. So you have to detect, you have to warn, you have to attack. These are various parts of air defense. Detect, warn, and attack. Attack as in counter attack. So it requires multiple technologies working together in sync. It cannot be like you detect it today and it will react tomorrow. It should happen parallelly. So this is important because you have new technologies like drones, missiles, etc. from our neighbors. To detect all of this, an integrated system that works parallelly is most important. I'm not elaborating this because it's a mere repetition of the same article. The fact that some key pointers are given here which can be used in prelims exam or mains exam next year, that's the reason I'm asking you to prepare this. Okay. So what are the components? You will see radars. What is the purpose of a radar? Detect. What is the full form of, see, this is the homework. Does radar have a full form? Yes or no? Are we talking about sonar or radar? What is the difference between a radar and a sonar? Tell me tomorrow. Then missile batteries, of course you need a power source to push it. Then you have command units. What are these command units? That is the central focus of the article today. Okay. What are the satellite systems for coordination? So this is basics of satellite communication. This is battery technology, energy sources. This is sonar and radar communication technology. And then sensors. This will be dealt in Internet of Things. And then we will create a comprehensive solution by bringing together all these parts. What are you expected to know? These basics. Because UPSC will test you on these basic principles only, not in-depth information. You should know the difference between a radar and a sonar. You should know electromagnetic spectrum. Of course, they will teach you all these points in basic classes. But if you want to prepare in advance, this is how you have to prepare. These are the most important areas. How many of you are from science background? Do you know what is an electromagnetic spectrum? What is the equation? Okay, I'll not give you equations and all. Non-science background. There is a concept called frequency. There is a concept called wavelength, which is denoted by this Greek alphabet lambda. So your energy is directly proportional to frequency and inversely proportional to wavelength. Meaning, if you have wavelength, you can see it from long distance. But energy cannot be sent, like packets of it. So that's why if you are using 5G, they cannot travel long distance. You need to have more equipment. Let's say, for example, if message is supposed to be sent from one place to another place, okay, it's like a postman delivering a message. It can be slow, but it will travel a long distance. That is older technologies. But 5G is very quick. So it's like a relay message. One guy will be sending to another, very quickly the message will be sent. Because they have higher frequency but lower wavelength. So this is how you have to understand electromagnetic spectrum, which will be taught in your basic classes. Since your basics are not done, just store this article, or if you are curious enough, prepare these points and keep them aside, because it's very, very likely that these points will come up in your next year exam somewhere. Basics of electromagnetic spectrum, radar, sonar, battery technology, and satellite communication systems. What is geosynchronous satellite? What are the different kinds of orbits? These will be the points that you need to understand in your basic classes. Only then this will be relevant for your next year. Alright? Did I teach you information today? Not really. But did you enjoy this class? Why? Because you are not just sleeping in this class. Your mind is active because it is constantly being questioned. This is preparation. It doesn't matter how many hours you sit. Every activity that we do should have an outcome. The outcome of a newspaper class is not just information delivery, but to take away a thought process that will stick with you for the rest of your preparation. So the next time any article on water governance comes, you know what to look for. And there will be hundreds of articles that will be coming in. You can't chase every one of them. You will have the confidence to understand what to live and what not to live. And that is real power. That sense of judgment is the hallmark of a good bureaucrat. Okay? So focus your energies on learning the skill of presentation. Okay? See you tomorrow.